While we learn a lot by what we see around us, including people's behavior, we know that people can be role models in two ways. Either because they inspire us to do what they did or the way they did it, or on the contrary, by what they did that we know was wrong. And sometimes it's just in the middle. One of the couple does right, the other one doesn't. But it's always good to read what God has put under our eyes to learn from. And today we are talking about two couples. The first is Abigail and the husband Nabal. The other one is Pilate and his wife, Pontius Pilate and his wife. Now let's look at the first. It was just after the death of Prophet Samuel. All Israel had assembled and mourned for him, and the story is recorded in the 1 Samuel chapter 25. There was a man in Maon who had property there at Carmel. He was very wealthy. He had 1,000 goats and 3,000 sheep, which he was sharing in Carmel. His name was Nabal, and his wife's name was Abigail. She was an intelligent and beautiful woman, but the husband was surly and mean in his dealings. He was a Calebite. So at that time, David was in the wilderness, running from Saul, and he heard that Nabal was sharing his sheep, and so he sent word to him and to greet and ask, I hear that it's sheep sharing time. When your shepherds were with us, we didn't mistreat them. The whole time they were at Carmel, nothing of theirs was missing. So ask your husband, your servants, and they will tell you. Therefore be favorable towards my men, since we come at a festive time. Please give your servants and your son David whatever you can find for them. At that time, David was living from hand to mouth in caves and mountains, and he was desperately looking for food, not just for him, but especially for all the people that had volunteered to stay with him as a wild army. And when he sent this word, Nabal was the one that heard the message, got the message, and he said, "Who is this David? Who is the son of Jesse? Many servants are breaking away from their masters these days. Why should I take my bread and water? Huh? And the meat I've slaughtered for my sharers and give it to men coming from who knows where?" This was a message devoid of any sympathy. In fact, an insult. Whereas David told him who he was, and of course the man knew, because it was not a secret that King Saul was pursuing David to kill him, because he couldn't stand this man in his palace. Nabal had no reason. If you know the culture in those days at that point in time in this place, you know that the food was not packaged in individual packages. It was huge pots that were prepared to feed the sharers. I've seen that in Africa. I know how people cook, and when they cook, everybody is welcome. It's the ideal crash program for anyone that is hungry around. There's no invitation. And so there was more than enough food. But Nabal was not used to being kind to anyone. And so could have turned very badly, because David received the message and reacted very, very negatively, saying, "Oh, who do you think he is? Okay, we're going to teach him some lesson." And he was preparing to come down to teach a lesson, like he said, to Nabal. But one of the servants ran to Abigail, the wife, because he knew Abigail's character. So he went and said, "Madam, this is serious." And he started narrating that David sent messengers and your husband hurled insults at them. And these men were very good to us. They didn't mistreat us. The whole time they protected us, night and day. They were like a wall around us. Think over it and see what you can do, because there is danger ahead. And Abigail didn't call the husband to ask or to nag him. She didn't ask anyone for advice, because she could see what was going on. It is written that she acted quickly. She took 200 loaves of bread, 2 skins of wine, 5 dressed sheep, 5 seah of roasted grain, 100 cakes of raisins, and 200 cakes of pressed figs, loaded them on donkeys, and then she sent the donkeys ahead of her in the mountain. And she met David and said, sorry is small, I know, but it's all I can do. But I'm very sorry for my husband. Don't mind what happened. Pardon your servant. Let me speak to you. Hear your servant has to say. Pay no attention to that wicked man, Nabal. She was talking about her husband. He's just like his name. His name means fool, and folly goes with him. As for me, your servant, I didn't see the man my Lord sent. And now, as surely as the Lord your God lives, since the Lord has kept you from bloodshed and avenging, accept this gift. And she blessed him. And we learned from there that it's not everybody that has a nice wife or a nice husband, but we have to know how to react. This example with Abigail was a very interesting way of dealing. And we can see another case in the contrary to King Ahab and the wife Jezabel. Jezabel in that case was a terrible example. She pushed the husband to kill. She was his demon. But Ahab had no guts to stand. And whatever she said he was doing, and it ran ahead for his curse. Another example was Pontius Pilate and his wife. The wife is not named, but we know that while he was in the process, in court, in the process of judging Jesus, to decide whether to condemn him as the crowd was asking or freeing him, and he knew that Jesus was innocent, and he said it repeatedly to the people, saying, "Why should I crucify someone that has done nothing?" His wife sent a word to him, saying, don't have anything to do with that innocent man, that just. I was really disturbed in dream about him. So she had nightmares. She saw something that only her knew about Jesus. And she sent word urgently. And the word arrived in time, all right. But Pilate was afraid. When people told him, if you free him, it means that you don't like Caesar. You are not obedient to Caesar. And Caesar was his boss. He had been called there in his post, to his post by Caesar. So instead of heeding to his wife's advice, he decided to crucify Jesus to get away from the threats from the crowds. So my advice is work together as husband and wife, and whoever is on the boss there. Nabal was the boss, Pilate was the boss, Ahab was the boss. But in all cases, we see that they just left the situation to get bad because they were not working. And we are not even talking about Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve. Eve listened to the serpent, and then the husband was there. He said nothing. He didn't chase the serpent away. He just left the conversation to go on. And then when she decided to take that fruit that was forbidden, instead of telling her, my friend, my wife, don't take, just leave that fruit alone, we have enough in the garden. No, not only that he didn't stop her, but he ate with her. She shared the sin with him. So let these examples be sober examples, lead to sober reflections on the way we should support each other for good and not for bad. And let the Lord guide us always.